The tense we're doing is called le passé simple. The tense we're doing is called le passé simple. Simple in grammar means one word. You already know a tense with one word. You know le futur simple. Je mangerai, tu mangeras, il mangera, as opposed to I am going to go, he's going to eat. So the complete trick for this tense is that you need to undo what you've previously learned. That really hurt my fingers. You need to undo this instinct to go in hard with an auxiliary, and that's annoying. Why do you need this? You are not going to need to create this tense, Rob. You're not, unless you're planning on writing French literature, which is not really what even I would bother doing. You're not going to need to write in it. You're not, I mean, occasionally you'll see it on Wikipedia, formal writing. It's basically because you need to read a book and get from the book new terminology, new vocabulary, new conjunctions, all of these things. Right now, to teach you this shit, I'm going to be giving you verbs you know and sticking it in this tense. But going forward, you'll be reading verbs, and the first time you read those verbs will be in this tense. And if you think about it, it's kind of crazy, but there are tenses, there are verbs, there's vocab where the first time in French we read these words as kids is in a tense that we don't use, spoken wise, which is a bit nuts, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? So there are also 4 literary tenses. You don't need to know all of them predominantly. You just need to recognize all of them, and you need to see what they give you. So in other words, I occasionally slip up and say and in oral French, but it isn't that. It's just and in non-literary French. So let's just say, for the want of a better term, in normal French. I know that's a really patronizing thing to say to literature, but let's just say normal French. In normal French, there's an equivalent for all of these 4. So you read them and go, right, chin up. What are these in normal French? So, for example, there's things in literature that take the subjunctive and you might go, aha, I've just recognized that subjunctive tense in the book. Therefore, my brain goes, I'm not going to need that stuff, but I'm going to need to remember that the thing that created the subjunctive would still be a thing that creates a subjunctive in oral French. So they are useful to know. It's also kind of badass cool to say that you know all of the spoken tenses, to know all of the tenses. So let's just quickly start. If you think of our present was, will, would, subjunctive, infinitive pattern, and then present was, will, would, subjunctive, infinitive on the bottom line, we're going to be adding 2 on the end of the line. So present was, will, would, subjunctive, infinitive. Book past, yeah, which is what we're going to call le passé simple. One word book subjunctive, and then on the bottom line it's going to go book past on the auxiliary, one word book subjunctive in the middle line. So it's like the same thing is going to happen as we've always done. So let's start with our basic one, which is le passé simple. So that's the top line. That's after present was, will, would, subjunctive, infinitive, and then the first one. So do me some mind mapping. Can you just divide your brain into the letter A, the letter U, and the letter I? Just mind map your brain into those 3 groups. What are those 3 groups called?
A, U, and I.
Great. The U ones all about the sound U. The I ones all about the sound I. We'll come to those in a minute. The A one is about the spelling of A. Yeah, the spelling of A. So super quickly, can you just give me the verb to have in its basic pitch form? So just say to me, j'ai, tu as, il a. Let me hear you say that.
J'ai, tu as, il a.
Good. As dumb as it sounds, can you please go again? And can you not say the people? Can you just say the verb?
A-A-A.
Great. Think of the spelling, which I don't normally ask you to do. So A-I-A-S, letter A. You're going to take your ER verb. Lukey never says ER verb. Lukey says A verb. But you're going to take your ER verb because you're going to be reading it. So you can call it an ER verb. You're going to take your ER verb. You're going to remove the ER. So parler. And you're going to stick on AI, AS, A. So je parlais, tu parlas, il parla. Would you just say those 3 words back to me?
Je parlais, tu parlas, il parla.
Would you do that for me with the verb pousser? Would you say I pushed, you pushed, he pushed?
Je poussais, tu poussas, il poussa.
Good. So pousser, P-O-U-S-S-A-I, like have, P-O-U-S-S-A, sorry, like tu as, P-O-U-S-S-A. Quickly, out of those 3 so far, which one do you think you're going to be reading the most commonly in books?
The first one, je.
Think honestly. Think about a book.
Il.
Because your protagonists tend to be in the third people, don't they? Yeah? Good. Lovely. So far, all about the letter A. Je poussais, tu poussas, il poussa. So if I gave you the verb danser, how would you say in a book he danced?
Il dansa.
Good. If you read the verb éclaboussa in a book, what infinitive would that be from?
Éclaboussé.
Good man. So, careful the endings. Some people look at them and go, oh, I know what verbs that end with the AI, AS, and the A. What tense so far have you seen where the spellings end AI, ASA? So far, what tense do you know that does that? What's my slogan, Rob, for the future? What's my slogan for the future?
Rarement.
And that spelling, you'll also notice, is also from the verb to have. Yeah, but that shit is on the end of the letter R. So mangerai, mangera, mange. Yeah, do you see what I mean? So, for example, the spelling, so je mangerai RAI, tu mangeras RAS, il mangera RA, as opposed to I ate, je mangeai AI, AS, A. All right, good. Then I want you to say mutterer, somebody who mutters. Just say for me, mutterer.
Mutterer.
When we have a nous in any of the passé simple, it is going to have a m sound towards the end of it. And you might go, what is that batshit crazy stuff? What is we are? Nous, how do you say we are? Nous sommes.
Nous sommes.
Good. So in Latin languages, the M is heavily present for the we. Yeah, you know, like in other languages, like, you know, somos, Spanish, you know, andiamo, you know, whatever, you know, in Italian, the M is a present thing from Latin in the we. This tense is closer to the Latin. So you've only got nous sommes, but it reminds you that the m is on the nous, and also M looks a little bit like an N, all right? So you've got m, t, r as an ending on your bottom three on all of these groups. So, for example, on the U and the E one, straight away, I'll tell you it ends ending in a M, ut, ending in a T sound, ending in a R sound. But on the letter A one, we've got three different vowels. Can you say for me am, like I am? Or jam or ham? Can you say for me at, like hat, or where are you at, or, you know, Pat? Can you just say at?
At.
And can you now say air, like breathing the air, hair, pair, stare? Could you just say that?
Air.
So can you now say, remembering the mutterer? Mutter is a stupid thing to say, but think somebody who mutters, am at air. Let me hear it. Am at air.
Am at air. So
your total 6 go, je parlais, tu parlas, AS, il parla, nous parlâmes, and for the duration of the time you've got the M one, you'll have an accent over the A, yeah? Vous parlâtes. So I always say jam, hat, and hair to help people. You've got some jam, like some, you know, some jelly. You get it, you take your hat off, it gets in your hair, whatever. So nous parlâmes, A-M-E-S, A-M-E-S. Don't worry about the spelling, you'll see it in front of you. Vous parlâtes, A-T-S, A-T-S. Ils parlèrent, E with a graph, R-E-N-T, another E-N-T for the day. So just say for me, je parlais, tu parlas, il parla, nous parlâmes, vous parlâtes, ils parlèrent. Let me hear you say it.
Je parlais, tu parlas, il parla, nous parlâmes, vous parlâtes.
Parlâmes.
Vous parlâtes, il parlait.
So all of them, apart from the bottom one, are about the letter A. A-I, A-S, A with an accent M-E-S, A with an accent T-E-S, E with a graph R-E-N-T. All the rest are about the letter A. So quickly, if I gave you the verb couper, how would you say he cut in a book? Il
coupa.
How would you say they cut in a book? Think of they cut, ils coupent.
Ils coupèrent.
Good. How would you say we cut?
Nous coupâmes.
Coupam.
Coupam.
Yeah, that's it. And again, you cut, you with a bout.
Vous coupâtes.
Good. Quickly, how would you say in normal spoken French, I got washed? In normal spoken French, I got washed. Past tense.
Je me suis lavé.
Great. Which of those words do we now not need because we're going into the simple past, the passé simple? Which one of those words is now obsolete?
Suis.
Great. And what is the infinitive that je me suis lavé is using? What's the infinitive?
Lavé.
So you're now doing another tense which goes on the top row. So you're going to use your reflexive shit still, but you're not going to use the auxiliary. So the verb is laver. So how would you say I got washed in a book? In a book, je me
lavais.
And how would you say you got washed in a book? Tu te
lavas.
Good job. That's it. How would you say they spoke to each other? Reciprocal in a book.
Ils se parlaient.
Good job. That's it. So all you need to do is look at those bad boys and go, okay, yeah, I can lift it off. Good. Right. The next group, just say for me 6 times. Perfect. This group is made up of verbs where the past participle, your normal 1, 2, 3, is a letter U irregularly. So j'ai vu is the exception. That goes to V, think vision. Yeah, visor. We'll keep that over on the other section in a moment. But every other U that you know that's a bit batshit crazy is going to use this pattern. So for example, il a fallu, j'ai couru, vendu would be regular, vendre, vendu, descendre, descendu. That would be regular, so that would not be in this category. Things like j'ai eu, j'ai pu, j'ai cru, yeah, j'ai su, I knew. You know, all of those irregular U verbs, we're going to go, okay, U verbs are going to go in this group. So ER verbs, A verbs as we know them, are going to go in group 1. The U verbs, with the exception of vu, are going to go in this middle group. And this shit is super easy. We are going to say U, U, U. And what were the 3 sounds I asked you to put on the end of the bottom 3? What were the 3 consonant sounds I asked you to give me?
Moteur.
So could you go again and say U and add a M, then say U and add a T, and then say U and add a R? What 3 bottom sounds is that going to give me?
Ut,
Why are we changing the U on the 5th one? Keep the vowel the same. Then U.
Ut.
Ur. The same U, Rob, is going to go all the way down. Ut, ur. Let me hear you say it.
Ut, ur.
Not ur.
Ut, ur.
Good. What's I drank? J'ai
bu.
Would you agree that that shit ends in the letter U? And would you agree that it's an irregular little creature?
Yeah.
Great. So I drank in a book is je bu. Go straight to it. Je bu.
Je bu.
To keep going. Tu
bu. Il bu. Nu. Boom.
Good.
Vous but.
Good. And
il bur.
Don't change the vowel. Bur.
Il bur. Il bur.
Now think of me, untouched by man. Say for me pure. Pur. Good. That was very good. Now say bur. Better, right? Okay. So the spelling again would be B, U with an accent, MES. U with an accent, T, ES, BURENT. Yeah, so the MES and the TS always have this thing going on. Okay, good. So if I said to you, I had to, j'ai, what's that in the past tense? J'ai
dû.
Lovely. So what would be in a book? I had to, as an action, like the change suddenly taking place. Je
dû.
What's he had to in a book? Il dû.
Il dû.
Good. Any time in a book you would normally need the was, you use the was. You know, the description. You know, any time that you would go to use the imperfect, what better place than in a book to use describing ongoing language? It's only when it's like an action. What's the verb to go?
Aller.
As batshit crazy as that is, it is an ER verb. So use the pattern I've just taught you. How would you say he went to the castle?
With which pattern?
Well, you tell me. What's the verb aller? How do you spell it? Spell it for me.
ALLER. So
good. Group 1 or group 2?
Group 1.
Good. So how would you say he went to the castle? Il
Il alla.
Yeah. Stop shaking your head. To the
Oh,
castle.
il alla au château.
Good. You could have made the billions that J.K. Rowling has made. There you go. That's literally so Harry went to the castle. Harry alla au château. How would you say he spoke with Ron? How would you say he spoke with Ron? This isn't fancy ass French literature. This is Harry Potter. This is the tense that Harry Potter's written in. So how would you say he spoke with Ron?
Il parla avec Ron.
How would you say they had something to drink? Here's your clue. J'ai eu. That's I had. How would you say they had something to drink? Ils
eurent.
Wongo, yeah.
Ils eurent quelque chose à boire.
Good. Notice on that one it would link. Je, tu eus, il eut, nous eûmes, vous eûtes, ils eurent. Yeah, had. Okay. Good. In that group as well, then. So let's say the verb to know. So, like, I knew all of a sudden. What would be he knew all of a sudden? Il.
Il sut.
Good. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Good. Lovely. The spelling of this group and the next group is just like a normal soft hard verb, as in we end in like an S and an S and a T. So like I finish, je finis, tu finis normally, F-I-N-I-S, F-I-N-I-S, F-I-N-I-T. Je sors, tu sors, il sort, S-O-R-S, S-O-R-S, S-O-R-T. This S-S-T business, we're going to do that in this as well. So it's very important that you know that the spelling of this, so the A family, A-I-A-S-A, fine, it can end in a vowel, like with the A-I and the A. But the other two groups, it's going to end in like an S. So je bu, B-U-S, tu bu, B-U-S, il bu, B-U-T, il eut, E-U-T, joue, E-U-S. Yeah, you get that S-S-T pattern, yeah? Good. In this group, so, you know, couru, 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 courum, courut, courure, whatever, fallu, you know, you're not going to have fallu in different groups, as you know, because it's just il. In this group is the verb to be. Now, high school Spanish, you know, the verb to be in the passé simple in Spanish, which is what most people who study this, who have done a bit of Spanish, then go, or Italian, like is basically all about the letter F. Welsh has got it as well. And people are like, hang on, Luke, the verb to be so far has always just been S and E. Like, je suis, tu es, il est, nous sommes, vous êtes, ils sont. But in the passé simple, the verb to be is in the letter F. And the Spanish students have noticed that when you do the préterit in Spanish, fui, fuiste, fue, fuimos, fuiste, fueron, it's the same as go and be. It's not in French, it's just be. It's just be. We don't have a simple past for the verb to be in French, in English. We just say was. We just say was. So all of a sudden, he was arrested. He got arrested. We use it in the passive. So when he read the letter, he was shocked. The fact that that's a sudden change taking place, we don't say he beed shocked. Do you understand that we don't have that in the verb to be in English? I swim, you know, I look, I have looked, I looked, I eat, I ate, I have eaten, I am, I was, I was. We don't have I beed, all right? I have been, that's different, that's the auxiliary, but we don't have one that's like the simple past. But you do in French. And up until this point, this is where you've learned to use things like London was bombed, Londres a été bombardé, rather than Londres était bombardé. So if it's like as an action, London got bombed, Londres a été bombardé. If it's as a description, so I was walking through London after the war and, you know, London was bombed, Londres était bombardé. So, but in the book, you're going to have the verb to see the verb fut. And this is the most common passé simple that leaks into real life. So if you go to some castle and it says the castle was demolished, you will read le château fut démoli or whatever. All right. So this is just the letter F on the beginning of all of my U shit. Fut, fume, fut, fur. Would you just say those six for me?
Fut, 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 fum, fut, fur.
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 Good. You need fur because you're going to use it in the expression au fur et à mesure. Au fur et à mesure, which means bit by bit. All right. Good. So, you're also going to need it in the minute as an auxiliary. You're going to need it in the minute as an auxiliary. Okay. So, I'm going to have some cashews for power. So that group. So how would you say the castle was destroyed? The castle was destroyed. When it's an action.
Le château fut détruit.
One castle.
Oh, right, yeah. Le castle, le château fut détruit.
Good, good, all right. Another verb which likes the u and is totally random is the verb to die. Mourut. Mourut is your base. Mourut, would you please tell me how you say in a book, they died?
Il meurt.
No, I've just given you the base. What's the base for they died? Mourut. Say it again. Just give me the base. Mourut.
Yeah, base mourut.
Good. And what goes on the days?
So, il moururent.
Keep your vowel accurate. Moururent.
Il moururent.
Good. Now, we've got one more letter group. What's our one more letter group called?
I.
Good. Go all the way down and give me the mutter on the bottom.
I, im, it, ir.
Good. All the way down again.
I, im, it, ir.
Good. This group is basically your dumpster for everything else that isn't covered by the ER or the U, legitimately. And most irregulars that I will give you in a moment use this. Like, you know. So just go down for me. If I gave you the verb, it's a really nice trick, not for all verbs, but for most verbs, is to say, if it's got an E somewhere in its speech, like if I gave you the verb finir, yeah, do you know a version of finir that ends in an E sound? As dumb as it sounds.
Finis.
No, it ends in an E sound, the sound E.
Oh, fini.
Yeah, I mean, Robert, I was beginning to worry. Right, so can you now give me I finished all the way down to they finished? Je finis.
Je finis, tu finis, il finit, nous finîmes, vous finîtes, il finir.
Lovely, all right. The verb to sell, what's the verb to sell?
Vendre.
Nice twang. Is it an ER verb, Robert?
No, RE verb.
Don't use RE, that's not a method I use. Is it? And we don't in French either. We don't call it that. We say verbe du premier groupe, verbe du deuxième groupe, verbe du troisième groupe. Is it a verb which ends in an U in the past participle? Irregularly.
No.
No, because that shit's vendu, but it's a regular vendu, isn't it? So is it going to be in the A group, Robert, the U group, or the E group?
The E group.
Lovely. Okay. Lovely. So therefore, take your basic bitch, vendre, vendi, 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 vendim, vendite, vendir. Okay. So what's the verb to leave?
Partir.
Good. Which one of the three groups do you think it's going to be?
I.
Good. So how would you say we left?
Nous partîmes.
Good. Okay. Lovely. Great. There are also. So what's the verb to put? with an M.
Mettre.
Good. Do you know a form of it that involves E?
Mis.
Good. Say for me, they put the coffee on the table.
Ils mirent
Good lad. M-I-R-E-N-T. Good lad. Yep, the coffee on the table.
le café sur la table.
Good. Here are some irregulars that go in the E family. What's the verb to say?
Dire.
From my mind, with my method, it's not irregular, pardon me, my mouthful. Do you know a form of the verb to say that ends in an E sound?
Dit.
Great. Je dis, tu dis, il dit, nous dîmes, vous dites. Have we heard vous dites somewhere before? We borrowed it in the present, haven't we? Yeah. Il dire. Can any of your, so what do we call, Rob? Conduire. What do we call that method? We call it weird and what?
Weird and easy.
Lovely. We need to keep it easy. So if it was conduire, you might be tempted to say, oh, conduit, conduit, conduit. Do you get it? Because it's an E sound. But Luke, you said you've got to keep the Z shit going on. So conduisez, conduisez, conduisez. Yeah, you've got to keep all of that going. Me, di, let me just bring up something 1 second. I need to email you a little sheet. No, go away, go away, go away, go away. Good. A couple more while we're there. The verb to come and things that work like the verb to come. What is the word for wine?
Vin.
Good. That is vin, the basis for the verb to come in the passé simple. It is the base. Remember what sounds I told you to put on the end of the bottom three? Would you please say for me, I came, you came, he came, we came, you plural came, they came. A big Bukaki fest, we're all going to come. So can you basically just go, je vins, or you go down, je vins?
Je vins, il vins, tu vins, il...
Nous.
Nous...
What sound did I tell you to put on the end of it?
Vanna.
Good, so what's that going to be?
Vam.
Good, okay. Okay.
Vat. Il...
Vindre. Il vindre. Vindre.
Vendre. Oh, okay. Now I see it.
Yeah, okay. Okay. I don't want to say your email out loud if I'm using this video for everybody, but just remind me, your email ends in the number 2, is that right?
That's right.
Yeah, cool. Big Dick drugfest2@gmail.com. Okay, got it. Lovely. Lovely. Let me just send you this. 1 second. Good. Next thing. Anything that's wandre, like so you know what I call like the 2 vowels and the ñ. So like joindre, joint, joignant, joignez, joigne. You're going to keep the ñ. Again, it's another thing that's just really inherent to the verb. So joigny, 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 joigny. Anything that's like the vowel indre, you're going to keep that. What's the verb to take beginning with a P?
Pote. Prendre.
Prendre, yeah. Do you know a form of it that ends in an E?
Pris.
Good. All right. So je prie, tu pries, prie, nous prîmes, vous prîtes, il prie. How do you say he took the bus? How do you say he took the bus? Il prit.
Il prit le bus.
Good. Spell it for me. P-R-I. What letter comes on the end?
T. P-R-I-T.
Good. We're almost done. So joigny, peigny, like double E-I-N-D-R, any of those verbs goes to the final one because of the Italian, like and the Latin, like scrivere, scrivere, like scrivere, like, so basically we have the V. So instead of saying écrit, 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 we say écrivit. Yeah, we get the V in there, all right? So ils écrivirent une lettre, they wrote a letter. So with that in mind, let me do you a quick fire round. How would you say Luke sent the letter? Luke sent the letter.
Luc,
What's the verb to send?
envie.
Look at Lukey. What's the verb to send?
Envoie.
Lovely. So let me just send you something that you need.
Envoie. Yeah, envoia. Luc envoia.
1 second. Oh no, actually, I'll keep this until we've done something else. No, I'll keep this until we've done all four. Did you go to envie because you were thinking of like voir working like the verb to see? Is that what you were thinking? Because in the future, you know, when you say I will send, you don't say j'envoyerai, you say j'enverrai, you treat it like the verb to see. Is that why you were doing that? But anyway, no, it's an ER verb. So
yeah, so envoia.
Envoie, lovely. All right, good. So can you open up the document that I've just sent you?
Yep. Got it.
Can you tell me when you've got it open?
Yeah, I have it.
Good. So the passé simple translated into English as either simple past or préterite is the literary equivalent. Carry on reading for me.
Just right from the top, the literary equivalent of the passé composé, which means that is used only in formal writing, historical and literary writing, and very formal speech.
Can we make that very formal speech? Very formal speech. Like you ain't going to, you know, if you renew your wedding vows, you are not going to do this in this language. All right, carry on.
In such writing and speech, the passé simple is used alongside the imparfait. Just as in everyday speech and writing, the passé composé and imparfait are used together.
Good. The imparfait. I will stress that you can still see the passé composé in some writing. You do. Like, I have to completely make this clear. If people get this wrong, like you will see it occasionally. Like if it's like, I have in my life done this many, many times. If you're talking in overview about something, you're not going to say I did this. It's not going to be that. So you will still see it. Carry on reading.
You'll probably never need to actually use the passé simple, but it is important to recognize, especially if you read in French, especially fiction and nonfiction. Fortunately, the passé simple is very easy to recognize. If a verb looks weird to you, chances are it's the passé simple.
Isn't that useful? All right. So, and this wording is from Lawless, because I think that's a really good way that she's described it. So by all means, check her out. Fabulous grammatician, Laura Lawless. You don't hear her speaking very often, and she's not very into sound. And she's not quite right there, because she said that you don't use the passé composé, but you do. But yeah, fabulous grammatician, check her out. But basically, yeah, you never hear her speak. So how to conjugate the passé simple? So yeah, if you just scroll down now, and if you could just read down the parler stuff, yeah, notice the accents, and could you just read out those 6 verbs for me? Je parlais.
Je parlais, tu parlais, tu parlas, il parla, nous parlâmes.
What the fuck, dude?
Parlâmes.
Yeah, vous.
Parlat, ils parlèrent.
Great. Notice the accents on the A, notice the accents on the E, all right? Mm-hmm. Look at what happens with manger and lancer. So what's my little poem? What do I say? G and C, love. I've given you this before. What's this? G and C, love. What do G and C love? Is it A, wild parties, B, Phil, who I love, or C, they love irony?
They love irony.
G and C in French love an irony. What do we mean by that, Rob? What's the word for boy?
Garçon.
Good. Spell that for me, the first 2 letters.
G-A-R-C-O-N.
The first 2 letters.
Or G-A.
Great. Is that a soft G or a hard G? Okay, say the word for me, garage. How do you say garage or garage? How do you say that in French?
Garage.
Lovely. The first G. Give me the noise that the first G makes.
Ga.
And what does the last G make?
Je.
Are they
Je.
the same sound, or is one hard and one soft?
One's hard, one's soft.
So in French, when a G and a C have an I and an E after them, they soften. Yeah, they soften. What's the verb to start?
Commencer. Ah.
Lovely, nice pronunciation. What's the first C on its own? What sound does the first C make?
Que.
What sound does the second C make?
Se.
One is hard, one is soft. You'll notice what is after the second C.
I.
Great. So when there's an E or an I after a G or a C, it softens it. But we can cheat. If we want to soften it, what do we add to a C to soften a C?
One of those.
A little tail, a cedilla, yeah?
Yeah.
So how do we spell boy?
G-A-R-C.
With a cedilla. Yeah.
Cedilla.
Yeah. I used to say boys have tails, but you have to be careful nowadays. So G-A-R-C-O-N. Yep. All right. How do I spell we eat? How do I spell normally we eat? Nous mangeons.
M-A-N-G-O-N.
No, because that would be G-O and that would be hard, wouldn't it? Mangon. Yeah. So what did I say we need to pop after a G to make it soft?
M-A-N-G-E-O-N.
That's it. We pop in a sneaky E. Yeah, that always messes people up, all right? You still need to obey these rules in the passé simple if you've got verbs which have A in them, don't you? Yeah, because a U is and an A are not I and E. So, for example, if you've got passé simple endings, you're still going to be adding the cedillas, you're still going to be adding the extra E's and all of this business. So if you look there at the spellings of je mange and, and lancer, for example, can you see that we've done those two tricks I'm talking about, yeah?
Yes, you know, yeah.
Yeah. So if you say, for example, je commence, tu commences, il commence, nous commençons, present tense, only the nous would have the little thing on it, yeah? Good. And the vous commencez, because the rest have got like E's, yes? So just be aware of that. Good. Then come down to the second section, which we did in a different order, but we're now looking at the E family. Just read down, he finishes for me all the way down. Finish all the way down. Je finis.
Je finis, tu finis, il finit, nous finîmes, vous finissez, ils finirent.
Good. Fini, fini, fini. Can you now come down to where we've got irregulars, some of which we've talked about. I think we've talked about everything apart from je m'assis, je naquis. So basically, you're just going to pop the E endings on the end of this little, on the end of the hyphen. There's not a hyphen in real life. It's just to show it. So how would you say, looking at that list, how would you say I laughed in a book? Je.
Je ris, tu ris, il.
That's it. How would you say they saw? Il.
Ils virent.
That's it. Jesus was born. Jésus naquit. Whatever. Yeah. Okay. Good. Lovely. All right. So then you've got all the U ones. Just scroll down, and could you just read out the past participle words there that end in an U that we are establishing is going to do the same thing without U. Could you just read down all of those verbs, please? So U.
Bu, connu, couru, cru, dû, valu, lu, plu, pu, reçu, su, valu, vécu, voulu.
Good. And I'll make this point that if anybody wants this text, I'll try and pop it in the box underneath. Alternatively, if they email me, I'll send it them in full. Good. So all of those are going to do the same shit. Yeah, good. Now scroll down a little bit and have a look visually at the je, tu, il, have a look what the verb to have looks like and the verb to be look like. Scroll down a bit.
Yep.
Yeah, because we're going to need those in just a second on the middle verb. Right. Come down again. I'd like you to read paragraph 1, which is a sentence in English. I got up this morning. Just read that out for me in English.
I got up early this morning and left the house around 8 a.m. I took the bus to school. I dropped by the library, picked up 2 books, and then met some friends. We spent the day studying together. In French, we would spontaneously use the passé composé to say or write.
Lovely. Okay, off you go. All right. So would you now say, I got up,
Je me suis levé,
je me suis levé.
je me suis levé tôt ce matin et j'ai quitté la maison vers 8 heures.
Good. So j'ai pris le bus pour l'école. Je suis passé could have an E because it's feminine, par la bibliothèque où j'ai emprunté 2 livres. Ensuite, j'ai retrouvé des amis. Nous avons passé la journée ensemble à étudier. So all material used for copyright purposes. I could have written something out, but this was just something I copy pasted. I don't think that was from Lawless. I'm trying to remember what it was from. But yeah. So basically, you know this, you know the normal one. Now read what it would be in the passé simple, which is effectively getting rid of auxiliaries. That is effectively what you are doing. You are getting rid of auxiliaries. Okay, so could you read that out now?
Je me levais tôt ce matin et je quittais la maison vers 8 heures. Je pris le bus pour l'école.
Good. Do you see how it would work? It matches English, doesn't it? I did this, I did this, I did this. You got it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Let's go down and let's look at some more archaic, literature. So this is from Jules Verne, Around the World in 80 Days. Le tour du monde en 80 jours. So, cela dit, Phileas Fogg se leva, prit son chapeau de la main gauche, le plaça sur la tête avec un mouvement d'automate et disparut sans ajouter une parole. Cela dit, Phileas Fogg se leva, prit son chapeau de la main gauche, le plaça sur sa tête avec un mouvement d'automate et disparut sans ajouter une parole. What verb is se lever from?
To wake up.
To get up. Yeah.
To get.
On this occasion, it's not out of bed, it's out of a chair. Yeah. Okay. What verb is pris from?
Prendre.
What verb is plaça from?
Placer.
That's it. What verb is disparu from?
Disparaître.
Disparaître. Yeah.
Disparaître.
But the fact that it is an U ending in the passé simple, what does that tell you, apart from irregulars like mouru? What does that tell you that the past participle is going to be in real life?
Disparu.
Thank you. Now, here's how it works, Rob. You virtually read all of the U verbs already that are going to be in the passé simple because you know what they are from irregular U's. There's not going to be that many new ones for you. The ER verbs are endless. There's endless freaking ER verbs, you know? Lovely. All right, so could you just read that again? This time, add in the auxiliaries. Add in the auxiliaries yourself. Add in the auxiliaries yourself. Add in the auxiliaries yourself. Yeah, cela dit, Phileas Fogg, go through and just add in the auxiliaries and make that work in normal spoken French.
Cela dit.
That means that said in formal French. So cela dit, so that said, yeah. In oral French, you tend to say ceci dit a bit more often, but cela dit is fine. So up you go through, make it work.
Cela dit, Phileas Fogg s'est levé.
Good lad. Add in the auxiliary.
A pris son chapeau de la main gauche.
Lovely. And placed it on his head. Pop in the auxiliary. No, prop the auxiliary in. Stand still, you're disappointing me. Save me, he ate. Save me, he ate.
Il a mangé.
Say he ate it.
L'a mangé.
That's it, do you see what I mean? So what don't you need to worry about when you've got the passé simplers? Unless your verb begins with a... Right, save me in normal spoken French, Luke eats it. Luke eats it. And if you're talking about something feminine,
Luc la mange.
So you instinctively know that in the present tense, you don't do the join on like all verbs. You've also got Luc la mange. The passé simple is a tense in the same way. So Luc la plaça. Luc placed it. Luc le plaça. Yeah, but if you pop the auxiliary back in, you need to obviously do the join, don't you? Right. All right, good. Then there are some others. Let's do the Petit Prince stuff. So, il me fallut longtemps pour comprendre d'où il venait. Le Petit Prince, qui me posait beaucoup de questions, ne semblait jamais entendre les miennes. Ce sont des mots prononcés par hasard qui peu à peu m'ont tout révélé. Ainsi, quand il aperçut pour la première fois mon avion, je ne dessinerai pas mon avion, c'est un dessin beaucoup trop compliqué pour moi, Il me demanda, and that is from Antoine Saint-Exupéry, Le Petit Prince. Big, hardcore book in French philosophy and children's writing at the same time. I don't know how we pull it off. And it's a style of little cute little art and kids' drawings and all this kind of stuff. So what verb is il me fallu from?
Il me faut. So falloir.
So how do you say in present tense, I need a coffee?
Il me faut un café.
Great. So how would you say in French, I needed a coffee as a description in the past?
Il m'a fallu.
Learn to listen to Lukey as a description in the past.
Il me fallait.
Good lad.
Un café.
When do we use, and none of you bitches ever remember this, il me faut with time? What does il me faut combien de temps mean?
I need.
Which basically translates as what? How long does it take me? Yes?
Okay. How long does it take
me, Rob, how long does it take you in the shower? I know when you have a baby, you barely ever, you like in, out, eyes. Yeah. But basically, how do you say, or you like, Julia's got her, I'm going to spend me time. So how do you basically, depends whether you're on your own with her. So basically, if you say, I need, so say for me present tense, it takes me 6 minutes. Say it takes me 6 minutes.
Il me faut 6 minutes.
Good. How would you say it took me 6 minutes as an action? Il m'a
fallu 6 minutes.
Good. So when you read the passé simple in a book, were you to convert this sentence to non-literary French or oral French, as far as you're concerned, do you see that that is telling you that it needs to go into the passé composé? Do you see the basic buzzword for you reading the passé simple is auxiliary, or the basic tag sentence is add an auxiliary. So you read that, so it took me a long time, il m'a fallu. So you're reading your book and go, oh yeah, I forgot, it took me a long time, il m'a fallu longtemps. Do you understand? You're going to nick that. To understand where he came from, that is a description. It's not as an action from where action came, d'où il vint. That is a description. It took me a long time to understand where he was coming from, where he came from, as a description of who he was. Okay, so that's fine. That's not going to become anything il est venu or anything like that. So your brain would eyes up. It took me ages to work out where he's from. Il m'a fallu longtemps pour comprendre d'où il venait. The le venait stays the same. Le petit prince qui me posait beaucoup de questions. That's not going to change in the normal stuff, is it? So the little prince who, you know, kept asking me lots of questions, ongoing. That's going to be the damn same in the normal French. Do you understand that? It's not one time who asked me lots of questions, although that wouldn't make sense grammatically, like one time asked me lots of questions. But what would that be? Qui me pose, what would poser be in the passé simple for a he? Qui me pose. Which group is it in? ER? Is it group 1, group 2, or group 3? Which one is it in?
Group 1.
Yeah, so what's that going to be? Qui me pose.
Qu'il me posa.
That's it, but it's not, is it? So we know qui me posait beaucoup de questions. He never seemed to hear my ones. Yeah, il ne semblait jamais entendre les miennes. We all know people like that. Ce sont des mots. We know to use it's and se say and ce sont when we're introducing a noun. So these are words pronounced randomly, which bit by bit revealed everything to me. Have revealed everything to me. He's still saying in the passé composé. So with all due respect to the grammatician Lawless, who stated, and I took that out when I used this, oh, you won't see the passé. You will see the passé composé. So it's basically an overview on his life. The character is saying, which have revealed everything to me, rather than revealed everything to me, which would be, so if the verb is révéler, what would that be as a they form in the passé simple?
Réveiller.
Révéler, yeah, okay, lovely, okay. So now we've got another action. Ainsi, so il aperçut, yeah, he noticed, perceived. So what would that be in the oral tense? Il
aperçut.
Look at Lukey. What do we need to add? What do we need to add if we're going from this into spoken normal French? What do we need to add always? What did I bloody tell you was your tag word? What did I tell you was the one thing you need to add if you go from the book into normal speech? What did I say you needed to add back in?
You need to add the auxiliary.
Good. Do I have the right to be a pissy bitch that you've just forgotten that? So in other words, if it's aperçu, What's that going to be? Do we know the past participle from the fact that we're reading aperçu? Yes, we do. So how would you say when he noticed? Quand
il a aperçu.
That's it. And you've got to say this stuff. All right. Quand il a aperçu pour la première fois. I'm not saying when you read a book, you need to be consciously doing this all the time for the rest of your life, but just while you're learning it now and you're learning to say things. So you might go, oh, that's right, the verb to notice. Do you know when you learn, you don't always want to be looking everything up in a dictionary, but you know when you're reading a foreign language and you're like, if I read that word, I get it, I might not have found it myself. Do you know the sort of thing I mean? Yeah. This is what you've got to do, fella. You've got to basically do this. Lovely. So quand il a aperçu pour la première fois mon avion, I will not. Yeah, that's just a will. I won't draw my plane. It's too complicated. It's far too complicated a drawing for me. Il me demanda. He asked me. So another place that you're going to see the passé simple is the citational verb. He said, dit-il. It will often go verb first, or il dit. So what's the verb to respond?
Répondre.
Répondre, yeah, répondre. What's the past participle? J'ai répondu.
Répondu.
Lovely. Is it an A group, a U group, or an I group?
An I group.
Lovely. So what's he responded in passé? What's he responded?
Il répondit.
Good. And what would that be as an inversion? Responded he. It's basically like how we're saying it in French, like he responded. What that would be?
Répondit.
Répondit-il. We add, yeah, okay. But we don't need to add a T spelling wise here because there's a T already there. All right. Good. Let's go back to what you're looking at. This is from a more modern book, post-colonial literature. Congo Requiem. So, le matériel était remis dans un hangar fermé à double tour, surveillé par des soldats. La touffe déverrouilla la porte et la fit glisser sur son rail. You might not know all of those words, but déverrouilla, what is the infinitive? That is to unbolt. Yeah, which is also the word we use when you lock a mobile phone, like when it's oh God, what do we call it in English? Unlocked. Like when you've got a like when you don't know the password or it doesn't recognize your face, or you've got to take it somewhere to whatever. So what verb is déverrouiller from? What infinitive is it from?
Déverrouiller.
Good. Come with me. Déverrouiller. Déverrouiller.
Déverrouiller.
Déverrouiller. Okay. Verrouiller. Say to me. Verrouiller.
Verrouiller.
Nice. Good job. That's to bolt. You're going to use that one way more. But people say this. My kid went to Disney. Remind me, which one is the one on the West Coast rather than the one in Florida? Disney World? Which one's Disney World as opposed to Disneyland?
Disney World, California.
Yeah, so she went there and she unbolted the door, the parent lock, with a coat hanger. Her mum was like, "Don't. Can we just agree 7 o'clock because I've had a red wine?" And she's like, "Yeah." And she basically unbolted the door. She went into the wardrobe, the closet, and got out one of those things and climbed on a chair and undid the parent safety bolt and made her way down the corridor. Yeah. And then I'll tell you when I'm not recording what happened next because it's really frightening. Good. Lovely. Look what comes next. We've then got a causative. So he unbolted the door and made it slide. Yeah, the passive the causative. Yeah, on its rails kind of thing. Glisser, fine, just normal grammar. Good.
So the fee is just from faire.
Right? That's right. Yeah. So say to me, Luke did the work. Say Luke did the work.
Luc fit le travail.
Good. I can go on if you've got a bit more time. or I can do it next week. Your call with the little one, your choice.
Yeah, I think we gotta continue on next week.
Okay. So what I would like you to do between now and next time is basically the most easy thing in the entire world. Is I would like you to go up to Julia, who I presume is an intelligent, beautiful creature. Well, I know she's a beautiful creature, and I'd like you to say, can you literally open up a book for me and you play Spot the Infinitive? And then basically, if you say, Luke does not wish for me to be able to speak, and you've got to be very careful at this stage in the game. You don't want a muscle memory of passé simple. You don't want a muscle memory of passé simple. So I don't want you to be reading this stuff out loud, particularly. I really, really don't. I want you to read it and say what it would be in non-literary French. You don't need to, if you see anything that's not the passé simple, so if you see anything that is the imperfect subjunctive, if Julia identifies it as that, or the passé intérieur, which is what we're going to come to, or actually, do you know what? I'm tempted to leave this because you might see some other stuff that we haven't done yet. So let's leave this until next time.
We've done all four. Yeah.
What did you say, my love?
Wait till we do all four of the tenses.
And then there is nothing that is going to appear in a book. So by the end of next week, you'll be able to open word reference, open on the verb tables. Yeah, you know, when you click on the little arrow next to the verb and it brings it all up, and literally know every one of those things. That's quite cool, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Good. Be careful, it sticks. I've got people that accidentally use it instead of the normal one, because you have, for several years in your life, spoken a language where there is no auxiliary at certain times in the past. So it's quite addictive for an Anglophone. They kind of want to go, I took the call, je pris l'appel. I did the work, je fis le travail, because that's an anglicized model. No. J'ai fait, il a fait, nous avons mangé. That's always got to be the way. It's kind of weird psychologically to think that the simplest way of thinking about, or the simpler of the two, better grammar, of thinking about the past, I this, I this. In French is never simple. It's always with the bit in the middle. It's like a really weird thing. And finally, Italian has, like, this is what's great. So Spanish has this as standard in the spoken language. Yeah, I've said that before. Italian has this as other languages. Every other language has the two that I've come across. Welsh has the two. If you've got this in Italian, in the north, which is obviously close to France, you tend to see a lot more of the tense that works like in French. So you've got like passato remoto, passato prossimo. You've got the one in the north that works more like the French with the auxiliary. And then you've got the one in the south, a lot more commonly, you hear in spoken Italian, the one that matches this. Yeah, Spanish uses both, but it's really, really interesting, like how languages kind of favor the one or the other and all of this business. It's obviously way easier to use the other one, the one with the auxiliary, because you've only got one, conjugation to remember for the past participle. But good. Don't forget them next time. I absolutely, fundamentally need you to know what we've done today for the next three. Otherwise, they don't work. You need to be able to build on what they are to find the next three. Does that make sense? Yeah. Good. Well done. All right. I'll see you next time.
Cheers.